Hi, this is Paul Sackers, Good News Planet, speaking to Jack Kosakowski. Hi, Jack. How are you?
I'm doing terrific. Thank you, Paul.
All right, great. Jack is with the Junior Achievement and has been with them, I think, a long time. I see you're the president and CEO of Junior Achievement. And if I understand this right, you are a product of the organization personally yourself.
That's correct, Paul. Actually, I was in the JA program back in Toledo, Ohio in the 1970s.
Okay, and I've continued on. Well, why did you start? Let me ask you a quick question. Why?
Well, I hate to admit this, but I actually started because in those days it was an after-school program, and I joined to meet girls. But surprisingly, one of the business volunteers saw something in me that, coaches and teachers hadn't seen, and one thing led to another, and it was a life-changing experience for me.
Aha, okay. As you can see already, Jack is a straight-shooting, talking guy. And as a result of that, these are realities of life. And I think it carries on what you were going to talk about today. Junior Achievement discusses teens and personal finance survey. Because if you don't actually talk about personal finances, you can go down very quickly. And it's one of those areas that you might not know how to deal with. And teenagers, I guess they just want to spend money. So, and you teamed up with the Financial Services Roundtable, I believe. And so tell us about what's happening, and also Allstate, a great corporate, good citizen, socially responsible. So tell us the good news going on here.
Well, the good news going on is that there's a lot of folks that are concerned about our teens and helping them to be prepared for managing their lives, which is, all about budgeting and taking care of money. We've been doing this survey for the past 15 years with our friends at the Allstate Foundation. And, several things have remained constant during that period of time. Unfortunately, budgeting and managing money isn't a high on the list of kids' interests. And so we continue to see that in the survey. One of the things that was a little more troubling to us this year is that we're starting to see more of a gender gap in terms of the way boys and girls have an interest in money and managing their money.
Aha. All right. And so give us some examples of what you're seeing.
Okay, well, we'll start at, kind of the high end. When we talk to these teens about their first job, we've seen that girls have a lower expectation for compensation than the boys that we talk to. And so naturally that's a bit troubling to us, especially, on the positive side. You look at teen girls, many more are planning to go to college or post-secondary education than teen boys are. So, that's kind of the good news piece of it. And also we're seeing that really in both genders becoming more realistic in terms of college expectations, trying to understand what the costs are and careers that would be, suitable for them.
So how does, now, based on these kinds of things, how does a parent get involved in a way that a child will be open for?
Well, that's a good question. And, Paul, as you know, parents are children's first teachers on pretty much all topics. And what we've found over the last several years through these surveys is that kids are looking at their parents. And, in fact, whether parents like to admit it or not, in terms of the way they're leading by example, the kids are watching. And so parents need to talk to the kids about simple things as they're paying bills. As they use their credit card, the fact that, this isn't magic money that I just give this card and I get the resource, that I have to pay this bill, that there is interest charged. Even, topics that are very simple for you and I, talking about interest, teens just don't understand. And so we've put together, with the help of the Allstate Foundation, talking points for parents, and they can go to the Junior Achievement website, ja.org, and there's actually little talking points and tips and tricks for parents talking to their teens about money.
And when you take the tour up at the Rockefeller Estate up there in Tarrytown, where I grew up, they used to say that the Rockefeller parents would tell their children to write down all the money that they spend in a pad and know where their money is going. Any thoughts in that regard?
Well, in fact, that is really, I try to simplify financial principles for parents to teach their kids, and you hit on what I think is the most important one. It's budgeting, because, we have to instill in kids and really everybody the whole fact that, the basic principle is you can't spend more than you take in. And so in order to really comprehend that, you need to create a budget so that where's your money coming from, and then where's it going. And so we'd really encourage, if nothing else, that parents go through that exercise with their children.
Okay. And so how do they initially start the conversation? Is there some thought here? Is this hopefully a family gathering, or what's the best way, would you suggest?
Well, I think one-on-one, or a parent with all of their children talking about, their family budget. But then to really make it real and relevant to the kids, we encourage use of allowance with children, where they're actually given money that they need to make choices. And that can lead into the whole discussion of needs versus wants. And one of the troubling things that we saw in this survey is that boys are more likely to receive an allowance than girls, which we found interesting. And the other one of that piece is that parents today typically are assigning more responsibilities or chores tied to allowances to the teen boys than to the teen girls. But with those allowances, then, they can actually sit down and help the kids decide, how am I going to spend the money? And it's important to instill in the kids that of every bit of income you get, you need to save a little bit.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. And the interesting thing, right, is that children and teenagers eventually become older, right? So basic principles that you learn at a young age will hopefully carry you through the rest of your life. Right.
Well, and we have found that if kids get into the habit of budgeting, into the habit of saving, that it does stick through with them as they go through life. And, especially when you think of teens starting to think about college, that's a tremendous place to start thinking about budgeting, their first job, how are they going to save money for post-secondary education, all good teachable moments for parents.
Let's take a second here. Junior achievement, 117 junior achievement areas operating across the United States. You've impacted 4.4 million U.S. students, more than 190,000 classrooms during 2012. How does somebody get involved with junior achievement?
Well, Paul, we rely on volunteers, adults from the business community, even parent-teacher groups. In fact, last year we had over 200,000 volunteers going into the schools around the country. And it's very easy to get involved, and we make it easy for the volunteer. They simply need to contact their local JA office, and we're in pretty much every city across the country. And parents can find that out by going to, again, the Junior Achievement website, ja.org.
And you have, besides your personal finance survey, which is well worth taking a look at, and actually a great place for parents to look at, and grandparents. The grandparents can also be influential in this as well.
Oh, absolutely. In some cases, I think grandparents can have more of an influence because they're, more seasoned, kind of out of the fray, and I think that the children look at grandparents in a very much a role model.
I sure hope so, says the grandpa. All right. Last question. What's good news for you personally? What's good news for you?
Well, the good news really for me, and I think for this country, is that people have realized that helping kids know how to manage their money and be fiscally responsible is going to pay big dividends for this country moving forward. And we're so thankful for the 200,000 plus volunteers that we have around the country helping us in this effort.
All right. Testimonial Junior Achievement has given me a sense of what adults go through with budget issues. All right. Thank you so much for sharing good news with us.
You're welcome. Thank you, Paul.
Okay. Bye-bye.